Thank you so much. This roundtable is the first roundtable. This is related to telemedicine. The narrative is basically we conducted as a AIM Consulting uh, an interviews with more than 60 people. Like, is that your preferred choice? And unfortunately, 78% people said that it is not our preferred choice when it comes to like. So it's not rural; it is across the country, and it is like on LinkedIn we connected people, and then we had it. So we had that data available, which is published in our diary and which will be published in our white paper as well. Now, taking that point forward, the next step was we brought this question into conference. So in the conference, we had amazing panelists talking about Dr. Ifat from Sehat Kahani. We had Rizwan Tawana from Cecil Pharma, who was hosting the panel. Country manager Bima Murtaza Halil was there. CEO of Healthwire Hamza Iqbal was there, and founder and CEO MedIQ Dr. Saira Siddiq were there. So we put this question there that if 78% people said it's not our priority, what should be done by the industry and what should be done by the policymakers? So we have shared the video as well. So if you just recall certain points, so they were one of the area prescriptions were not fully digitalized, and we were not providing end-to-end solution. That's the reason people were reluctant. Then some people said that some of the people were just listening to others. Once they experienced by themselves, then they got to know, oh, that's actually very good. Then urban people are more prone towards, because they have the technology, they have the social circle, so they prefer the telemedicine. The rural is still a long way to go. So these were the general outcome of the conversation we had. Now I'm putting this question into this forum, so whoever will be joining will become part of the conversation. So the first question is, what industry should do to make telemedicine as a preferred choice in urban as well as in rural? That's the first question. The second question will be, what is the expectation from the policymakers, from the government, what they should do? So these are the two questions. So let's start from the industry, and please feel free to share your thoughts, and then we will take it forward with the other participants as well. So we can start with the Mariam, because she's doing the research. Mariam, have a quick intro and then start it, and then once your point come, quick intro so that it's recorded as well.
Sure. So thank you, Ali, for inviting me. I am basically Dr. Mariam Chaudhary, and I work at Humwell as the head of clinical quality. We have been in business for almost 2 years now. And from my experience, what I can tell you is that, telemedicine is a great opportunity, like be it rural, be it urban. Like there is no difference. When someone needs healthcare, they will find a means to reaching out to the doctor. It all basically comes down to the geographical locations in Pakistan. If you look at Balochistan, for example, right, huge, like it's a vast area, not a lot of access to healthcare, right? They have to travel like 2,000, 3,000 kilometers at sometimes. And when we see patients calling in from Balochistan, I particularly listen to those calls to understand what are their needs, and they will have the consultation. They will be really satisfied with it. And there was this one instance where the patient asked kya aap mujhe dawaiyan deliver karwa sakte hain, because yahan pe koi pharmacy nahi hai. Now that is a key, it's a key takeaway. Like for them, there's no access to medicine. So can you in some way collaborate with a pharmaceutical company, and for Balochistan have a very a customized kind of service available? And that's how you will get that population to come towards telemedicine. It's such a nice solution for them, because of the terrain, and also poverty is a big factor in Pakistan. So why not? Telemedicine will be acceptable. It's just that you approaches to different geographical locations.
Mhm.
Right,
Yeah.
Ali? I hope I've answered
Yeah.
in
So,
the best way
this is
possible.
so I will definitely the first point is a narrative, I would say. So meanwhile, we'll welcome Miss Harmain Sangi. How do you pronounce? Sorry for that, ma'am.
This is Harman Sangji. It is Sangji. Yeah.
Okay, Sanji. Okay,
Hello.
welcome on board, man.
Right.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
So, Mariam, I'll put the question again. What are
Yeah.
the actions? What are the actions do you think
Mhm.
industry, like when it comes to industries, Humwell, Seth Kahani, all these
Yeah.
companies, what should they do
Yeah.
to actually extend the reach and make it
Mhm.
as a preferred choice for the majority? So I just want to ask this question to
Okay.
all participants. What actions
Okay.
industry must take?
Okay, Ali. So so what I suggest is they can all your answers lie with the data that you have. I am a strong believer of data analytics, and that is what I have been actively doing. Right, every call that you have with the patient gives you some sort of socioeconomic behavioral information about the patient. What are the things that they need? You have to understand the patient's need, right?
Mhm.
Reach आप इसी तरह से बढ़ा सकते हो, like when you know अच्छा, like this is something which was asked in a call, or like in an encounter, like this is what we need. Your strategy needs to be data driven, and
Mhm.
your data is every encounter that you have. So like with telemedicine, it's beautiful, right? You have the data right away. You just
Mhm.
have to analyze it actively and realize like this is what needs to be done. It has to be innovative, it has to be fast paced, and it needs to be like strategized, patient centered.
Okay, so I like the point, like it should be data driven. That's fine.
Yes,
Mansab, my
yes.
question to you is, for example, data driven is a point too, but what if like I do not prefer telemedicine? How to change that mindset? So I agree that one somebody has uh, confirmed that I'm gonna attend online prescription or consultancy, then you can go to the data set. But before that, how to change the mindset? What is your thoughts about it?
जी बिल्कुल. Thank you, Ali. I'm Mansab. I handle the telemedicine portfolio here at EFU Life Assurance. And to make your point, we've done a lot of tests within our employees and with our customers as well. So we found out that a lot of people are rigid towards telemedicine because they have a certain mindset that jab tak doctor doesn't examine me physically, so jab tak they can't diagnose it. However, I think that's not incorrect. And we realized that once any customer uses the telemedicine once, and then they get hooked onto it. And we've had several examples that the customers, used it once for a second opinion. And then after that, they started using it regularly for themselves and for their families. So that really made a point. So what I think what the industry should do is, since people really don't know about telemedicine and the benefits it can give, so the industries which have a reach already in rural as well as urban areas, they should embed telemedicine into their own products, like we're doing here at Life Insurance as well. We have numerous projects in which we give insurance, but we're also embedding telehealth into that, so that users, once they get a free version of it, start using it, and then they realize the benefits, and then they start to compare others and start using others as well. So definitely, like reach, jinki hai, like telcos have a long reach, and the payment platforms like Easy Paisa have a long reach. So embed karke the company should pay, and people go get a flavor of what telemedicine is, and then people will definitely adopt it. That's my
Okay,
opinion. We've tested that
great.
as well.
Yeah, so so the first point came it as a data driven. That's step number two. Step number one came in like telemedicine companies should basically integrate with the companies who have a mileage, who has a reach, like as
Exactly.
said, Jazz, like companies like Easy Pesa. So it should be integrated. Okay, great. So
Yeah.
that's one idea. So the same question to you, Herman. What do you think industry should do to extend the reach and to change the mindset?
Okay. Firstly, I would like to build on Mr. Mansab's opinion, it is like the infrastructure is there, so we have to advertise to to tell the people that how can they do this mindset shift, because it's completely a mindset shift. In Pakistan, it is very it is very popular among the audience that they go to a doctor, and until and unless they don't check them, they don't check their pulse, they don't think that they had got a checkup. So
Mhm.
firstly, yes, people must, or the people who are in the telemedicine industry, they have to have publicize it. They have to create, a certain kind of experience centers where people go, and they actually experience that flavor, that what sort of experience they will be getting after after having a certain kind of telemedicine experience, and telemedicine company will be providing to them. So that will make it very easy to opt, this kind of alternative, because we need to change the mindset, and the mindset is have take a lot of years. This is inbuilt in us, so we have to change that. And for that, marketing, a proper, what can I say, strategic marketing is required. This is one thing. The second thing is we have to make the infrastructure so feasible to everyone, so that they can easily opt for this alternative. Otherwise, for example, it will be a lip service only. Okay, we will be sitting here and the conferences, and people talk for this cause, but they will not only they will not experience it, and they will not opt for it. So second thing is the infrastructure should be feasible enough, should be highly optimal, so that people can use, people want their money to be used on it, because they will be spending money. So these are the two things, and I'm glad to tell you that this infrastructure is there. So we have to align good companies. Means by good companies, I want to clear that the good companies who are infrastructurally very well versed, and they can help people. Telcos are number one. The second are the specialized companies abroad. We can take their help. For example, I am from Schneider Electric, and when I joined over here, so there are so many solutions which were state of the art, and I haven't seen it in my previous organizations. I have worked in PTCL, I have worked in MCB and Geo Television, but I haven't seen those solutions. I never heard of it. So we need to incorporate with the other technologically advanced companies, and by that I mean I'm not saying that we should buy from them, but we can increase our experience in those companies, and we can collaborate with them. It is good to seek information from everywhere we can, because we are on a cause. We need to resolve something. We need to promote this telemedicine among the masses. So whatever you can say, whatever which I can say, whatever I need in this kind of situation, I will be doing it. So this is my take on it. Number
No, I mean,
one is promoting, and number two is the infrastructure. We need to make it strong and feasible and easy to use.
Great. So we have Hamza. Hamza, welcome on board. Hamza is CEO HealthWire, is a very dynamic company. Hamza, it's a follow-up conversation with the telemedicine panel you had in Karachi. So we have amazing people here. So we are bringing conversation into action. So this conversation will go further to a white paper. So the first question I put it into the table now was like, what are the actions industry must do to extend the reach of telemedicine, number one, and number two, change the mindset of the people, acceptability. And so far, let me quickly recap. Mariam is from Humwell. She said, like, it should be data driven. Whenever the doctors have a call with the patient, try to get as much data as possible, and then make the predictive and prescriptive analysis based on that. Mansab came up with another idea on extending the reach. He talked about like the big companies who have like the reach to the masses, like Easy Pesa, Jazz Cash, Jazz Telenor itself. So telemedicine should be basically have a picky bag on that to reach to the masses. The third point, I think 2 points came up from her man. And I think one, I really like the point that is about experience centers. This is very, very valid point. I would request Hamza to specifically touch base on that once you have your time. That she said that like similar to Amazon. See, Amazon is a portal, so they deliver the item. But in India, they have made their own experience centers. So same is the case. People still feel like, okay, I need to go to the clinic. Doctor need to see me. Doctor need to examine me in the accordingly. So if we create experience centers inside a part of the cities where people go and see that it is possible without that. That's the one thing she mentioned. And lastly, and I think I love this point, her man, very good point. The last point she mentioned is about infrastructure. We as an AIM consulting, we have actually tested all of the apps which are available in the market. Most of the apps, I won't say all of the apps. So she's saying like infrastructure should be so robust that you provide end-to-end solution to the people. So these are the points which actually came up as of now. The same question I'm putting in front of you. What are the steps industry should take to extend the reach? Number one, and number two, change the mindset of the people. Like rather physical, online is a preference. Over to you, Hamza.
Thank you, Lai, for having me in the session today. Great to be on call with everyone here. So I think my 2 cents on this would be regarding more on experience. I think all of us companies working in the telemedicine space need to focus a lot on the experience, because the only way we can drive adoption in this specific is to give an experience that is 4-5x times better than going out and meeting a doctor. And I think that is not only limited to telemedicine. I think that is also connected with building some additional services. I think when we talk about experience, we're actually talking about the whole patient journey that the patient would go through if they opt for a teleconsultation. And that is actually connected. So if I'm a patient, I'm doing a call digitally. After the call, if the doctor gives me a prescription, I would want to get those drugs delivered at a click of a button. If the doctor gives me orders lab tests, I would want those lab tests. If I'm not willing to go out of my home, I would want all the services on my mobile then. So I think this experience that we need to carve out, on the telehealth part and then the additional services is very key. And I think when we talk about experience, we actually need to collectively work more on use cases that provide a lot of value. So there's certain use cases in telehealth that don't provide a lot of value. I saw a lot of them in the lockdown time period where just out of desperation people were doing video consultations. But you could definitely see, I as a service provider could see that we're not providing enough value in this. They're forced to video consult right now, but they won't video consult when things get back to normal. And that's what we've seen. A lot of use cases have died down. But certain use cases like follow-ups, a patient who comes from Chakwal to Lahore or Islamabad just for a follow-up, spends a lot of time, spends a lot of money. If that patient could show that those reports digitally and have a video call with that doctor and stay connected with that doctor digitally, that's about 4-5x better times of an experience. And that patient would want to stick to this service, to telehealth. So for me, I think it's the collective efforts that all of us are doing are going to, as long as they're driven in finding use cases and finding values that give that North Star experience, we can drive adoption very fast. Otherwise, I think it's good for telemedicine is right now good for investment pitches and good to project yourselves. But the only way it's going to sustain is if there's that stellar experience there. Otherwise, I think if we be very honest with ourselves, if we are just doing a normal video presentation that is not providing that value, people would not choose to stick with it.
Great. So so it means your focus is also on patient, like patient experience, end-to-end journey, like from the medicine, from the lab test and everything. Now, I would like to bring back you guys on two things. One is about the changing the mindset. See, we see a lot of advertisement from different telemedicine companies. I would not like to mention the name, on YouTube, on digital platforms. Now, the same thing we highlighted in our summit as well. I'll give you an example of, excuse me, ePulse. ePulse is an app of Turkish app. Once they launched back in 2015-16. So they launched through digital media. They launched through videos on YouTube and everything. And with a couple of months, the reach was only 10,000 people watched that. Few thousand people watched that. Once they did later on, they actually hired the singers like Ali Zafar, Atif Aslam, who are more connected to the people. And rather than they sell the e-pulse directly, they did indirect campaign. So what they did, they talk about emotions, what exactly people are going through, the pain and everything. And then they make a video or the song based on that. And the reach of their message went into millions. Okay. Likewise, recently I'll take the name Gets Pharma. Gets Pharma recently launched a song with the Shehzad Roy on uncovered certain thing. And we were able to see that in the night, even the reach was into lakhs and millions. The one idea came when I talked to the people about the integration. Integration means like people in rural, even my mother, she's around 80. Every night she liked to watch drama. The next day morning in the friends circle in street, they talk about, okay, this happened with that bahu, ya saas, ye sab kuch hua. So the point came in कि हम जो ये सारी telemedicine की companies हैं, why we are not planning to integrate into drama, the things which are more viral, rather than we promote the company, we promote the idea, which will in fact benefit everybody. Can I have the quick thoughts from all of you on that? Like, does it make sense to extend the reach and changing the mindset? Mansab, you can go first.
Okay, definitely, Ali. I think obviously mindset change karne ke liye you have to focus on what the viewers are watching. But definitely, like you mentioned, like the viral ad of the Turkish company. So obviously things do go viral, but ye hai ke we have to focus on conversion as well. If a billion people watched it, but only a few thousand subscribed to it, so I wouldn't consider that as a successful endeavor. But if a million people watched, the lakhon mein jo hai people actually bought the service, used the service. So I think that would be a win. And definitely, like I said before, integration embedded into products is very necessary. And through people what people are watching, like numbers and everything, sort of like a celebrity endorsement, product placements ho jati hain. So that would be really, I think, a good strategy as well.
Yep. So Hamza, do you think that industry as a whole, one is telemedicine industry, the way we did it in Karachi as well, like we invited all of the industry, because one industry, the whole ecosystem will grow, the companies will grow. Do you think like industry should sit down together on these steps as well, like how to change a mindset, how to do these kind of things? What is your take as a CEO of a big company in Pakistan?
I completely agree with that. I think it's very important for me, the industry, to sit together to carve out an experience, and even if we want to give that extraordinary telehealth consultation experience, I think we cannot give that on our own. Just as I said previously, हम video call तो दे देंगे, but we need a pharmacy partner to deliver the drugs. क्योंकि अगर उसको ने video call online कर दी है और दवाइयाँ लेने के लिए उसको घर से बाहर जाना पड़ा है, तो you lose on that experience. We need lab partners. Even if I think we talked on this in the panel when Rizwan Timana pushed the question on sharing data. I think that's very key as well. वो lab test होता है, lab test चुगताई lab करती है, उसको चुगताई lab की app download करनी पड़ रही है, एक और कंसल्टेशन किसी और ऐप में होती है, वो उस ऐप में डेटा पड़ा हुआ है, हेल्थवेयर पे होती है, हेल्थवेयर में होती है. I think it's very important for us to be integrated. This is not that cutthroat competition. The market is going to grow very fast in the coming months and years. I think we are going to collectively capture that market. But on your initial idea, I sort of disagree on that. I think ये जो marketing campaigns हैं, I think they're good. But for me, I think if any sort of company starts to give that stellar video consultation experience or telemedicine experience right now, I think the word of mouth they'll generate, and healthcare, is generally thought of as a full marketing industry. आपको जब डॉक्टर चाहिए होता है, तो you search around, you go on Google, और आपका डॉक्टर आपको कहता है कि मेरे साथ वीडियो कंसल्ट कर लें, तो यू विल वेरी इजीली गेट ऑन दैट. बट हेल्थवेयर आपको जितने मर्जी एड्स दिखा दे, जितनी जबरदस्त कैंपेन बना दे, उसको वायरल भी कर दे, फॉर यू टू ट्रस्ट अस, ट्रस्ट अ न्यू कंपनी, यू ट्रस्ट योर डॉक्टर बट यू वोंट ट्रस्ट अस इमीडिएटली. इसी तरह the campaign can go viral, we can spend a lot on it, but I still feel the way to crack this market, campaigns would always help. There should definitely be a lot of content, a lot of pushing this message through to the larger audience. But I think the way to crack this market, or the way to drive adoption in telehealth, is going through the experience part. Agar aapko experience denge, I think you'll start capturing market organically. And we cannot, I think, ignore the fact that this market is very doctor centric. अगर मैं एज ए डॉक्टर आपको कह देता हूँ कि आप मेरे से इंस्टेड ऑफ कमिंग ऑल द वे फ्रॉम अनदर सिटी, आप मेरे से वीडियो कंसल्ट कर लें, तो यू विल कन्वर्ट वेरी फास्ट. एज Mansab has said, conversion is very key. But मैं आपको ऐड दिखाने लग जाऊँ, तो conversions are going to be low.
That's very important. I think very valuable point. So what do you think, Harmain, like the point where Hamza just left? So it's a doctor centric, and I think yeah.
So actually, that was my point also, because in this industry, we need, the influencers are the doctors or the top-notch pharmacists. So you have to collaborate with them instead of, you can show that a celebrity is consulting a doctor on a video call. That idea can work, but making just a celebrity-centric ad and making it viral, I don't think so. That's a valid idea. But the thing is, like, what I was thinking is that the doctors endorse this kind of experiences that can, convert fast. And you need to have a list of top-notch doctors among Pakistan, and you need to hit them. And for example, what the pharmaceutical companies do, they have the incentive programs for the top-notch doctors, and they collaborate with them very well. They take them on board and they incentivize them as well, so that they work for them. That is how this new industry can penetrate into the masses, while making those doctors work for them too. That is how you gain the trust of the people. It can be, it can be difficult. I'm not saying it's very easy. It is not easy at all. You need to, convince the doctors first before the patients, so that they will collaborate with you. So there was, if I'm not wrong, there is an app in India which was working like this, and they were collaborating with the doctors, and the doctors endorsed them so that they penetrate into the masses fast. I think that is a similar case over here. A celebrity plus doctor-centric approach can convert better. It's my idea.
So we have Mariam here as well. So Mariam, being a doctor,
yes.
So I'll just put one point here first. Like we were doing different tests with different companies. We found out that platforms were very good. The support centers from the telemedicine companies were very good, but there were still the gaps with the doctor's coordination. Like sometimes they're not online, sometimes, like, the team is running behind them,
Yeah.
and then once they're talking, they say like, yaar ye prescription kaise bhejni, even though everything was there in the system, but we felt lesser level of ownership from the doctors. No, this is actually this point is very important, where we got Dr. Sara as well, CEO Said Kanishi just join as well. So I'll put the first this question to Mariam first, and then to Dr. Sara.
Okay.
So the point is, what do you think, doctors and telemedicine, are the idea aligned, or do you think that doctors don't like because of ABC reasons and industry should do something? Can we have a little bit discussion on that one, starting from Dr. Mariam?
Yes, yeah, Ali, I think this is like a wonderful discussion point, right? If you look at our medical colleges currently, there is no component which trains our doctors on telemedicine use or technology use, like, all these latest innovations that are coming in with wearables. Our doctors are not aligned. There are very few. I like, I'll be bold enough to say, like, maybe not even 1%, So it's very, like, they're going down that old lane. Let's just do, like, the in-person consultations. It's better, right? And the doctors, like, to bring them on this platform, on the telemedicine platform, there needs to be so much training. And there needs to be, like, if you look at standardization of guidelines, right? Like, every doctor has their own approach of dealing with patients. Right? So if they're working with a company, like, the company has a vision. So to align them with those guidelines is also sometimes a challenge, because, they don't agree with some of the guidelines. They want to practice whatever they feel is good within their practice. So, the doctors have to like, share the company's vision. They need to understand, like, this is a way forward. And as early as they can adopt to these changes, the easier it will be to bring, like, patients on board. And as you were saying, right, the marketing campaigns, like, organic marketing, this is all to sensitize our population. The actual like, leaders will be the doctors.
Yes, definitely. So the same question goes to Dr. Sara, to get the little bit elaboration on that. Doctors and telemedicine companies, how much they aligned, and what telemedicine companies should change to get endorsement from the doctors to promote the idea of telemedicine.
Hi, thank you, Ali. Apologies for being a little late to the discussion.
No
I think it depends on what kind of, in my experience, in my very humble experience, I've seen that it depends on the kind of doctor that you're onboarding for the platform. There are different categories of doctors in Pakistan. There are doctors who've just graduated. There are doctors who are the key opinion leaders of today, and there are doctors who will be the key opinion leaders of tomorrow. The young specialists, the young consultants who are just completing their CPS degree. I think if I had to go for the low-hanging fruit, I would definitely focus on the younger lot. Not that I have anything against with the consultants. I think they're just very set in their ways. And it would take a long time for them to be converted to a newer platform because of age, experience, and being set in their ways. I think it's just a difficult reach to have. So I think we need to bring the younger generation of doctors on the platforms. We need to train them. We need to make them comfortable. We need to convert their existing user base on telemedicine platforms. And then once we have a considerable network of doctors working on the applications, then we can go for more distinguished consultancies or distinguished specialists. I think थोड़ी जो हमें problem होती है वो ये होती है कि patient based जो होता है वो consultants और specialists का ज़्यादा strong होता है, especially returning patient based जो होता है. However, जो platforms के ऊपर patients आते हैं, उनको मुश्किल होती है इन consultants को दिखाने में, because ये consultants telemedicine applications पे available नहीं होते ज़्यादा time के लिए. So I think we somehow need to close this gap between specialities and platforms. And I think the key of it is to involve the new key opinion leaders first and then go for the older ones, which might have a little difficulty on coming on platforms.
I think that's a good idea. And then do you also endorse, Dr. Sara, the point which her man shared, that like one is like the young doctors, the other is doctors to be, like they should be enough training in the universities and that level that they are very prone to, before they come into the practical life, they actually support this idea. Do you think that also as a long term can be helpful?
Ji, bilkul. I think telemedicine and digital healthcare should be trained. I think there should be courses on it in universities. I absolutely agree on that. But that is a more longer term solution. I think again the short would be कि जो नए doctors train हो चुके हैं या जो 3-4 साल training कर चुके हैं उनको कैसे engage करें. But definitely I would definitely endorse that the newer generation of doctors, they should be like एक 2-3 hour का credit course उनको पढ़ाना चाहिए digital healthcare के ऊपर, ताकि उनको visibility तो हो कि ये होता कैसे है, so that they can learn how to, because जब सिर्फ उनको लाना जरूरी नहीं होगा ना, वो कैसे converse करते हैं, कैसे communicate करते हैं, patient से कैसे empathize करते हैं, history कैसे लेते हैं, कौन सी tips and tricks use कर सकते हैं examination को process को थोड़ा सा limit करने के लिए. I think all that they can be trained for in a course, and that would put good opportunities for them in the future.
Great. So I think the first question which we put is a very healthy conversation. So we talked about what industry should do to extend the reach and to change the minds of the people. So I think we got good points, like so one of the point was we should be data driven. Whoever as a doctor talk to the patient, they need to collect more data to understand the trends and everything. And then we talked about extending the reach with the big companies like Easy Pesa, Jazz Cash, etc. Then we talked about experience centers, where Hamza and her man talked about experience centers, that because people prone to go to physical clinics, so they should be experience center. The people can actually check how it is helpful. And the last point is the doctor's endorsement. So this is somehow we covering it from the first question. Now we have like next 15 minutes. Quickly, we would talk on the second topic. And so as a summary, you know that this video will go to the team who is basically preparing the white paper. So this input will go to Dr. Amir as well and his team. And sooner you will see that it has been transformed, that telemedicine, what should be done by industry, what should be done by the policy. So now the quick question is to all of the participants, what are the expectations from the policymakers? What should they do? And I think we have the agreement with government that once our white paper is out, we're gonna go and we're gonna present that to them. So you need to be very sure that it's not like sitting in this room only. We will be bringing to the right stakeholders. It has been agreed with them. So starting from Hamza, what do you think you need support from the policymakers when it comes to telemedicine?
Yes, I think generally we need a larger guideline on which telemedicine platforms should function. And I think the very core thing about this would be to take everyone on board. I think about 6 months ago, we saw, the health department of the federal government, if I'm not wrong, working on something, and it got very near to be implemented. And I think there was no sort of input from the telemedicine companies on it. So what we would need, I think, is a larger dialogue and a framework majorly on which these companies would operate.
Some framework you talk. And so Herman, what do you think industry is expecting from the policymakers?
Okay, firstly, I would like to raise a point that there is a huge need of standardization, because every platform which is coming up is different. Means not only the audience needs to understand it, but even the policy makers, even the doctors, means every stakeholder needs to understand each and every platform. There are many. So what I would recommend is we need standardization in it. Second point is the policy makers can help us in in guiding or giving authoritative, what can we say, like they can direct the association of the doctors that they should spend, I'm talking about the doctors who are the specialists, who are the consultants, to direct them that they must spend some hours of their practice online, so that they have to have, come online. They have to, maybe they are so indulged in their own ways, but after this kind of directives, because they are part of medical organizations, they are part of medical associations, so if they have to have, they have this directive and they need to spend some time online, so eventually they will come and they need to adopt the newer ways of working, and they have to join any online platform for this cause. So that will that will ease the process of getting a highly paid or highly well versed consultant to on these kind of platforms. So they have to change their ways. It's a long term process, but definitely if certain kind of directives from the government came, from the policy makers came, so they so people need to adopt it. Third point is, by experience centers, I mean, like people go physically, but they experience this virtually. Like, for example, on the airports, on the railway stations, there can be, you know, these screens and all, where
Yeah.
they can
Kiosk.
experience that what is actually, the kiosks, yes, you are right, kiosks, that they can experience that, okay, fine, if I am adopting one video calling, telemetry, or telemedicine kind of service, that what is it, means this is a taboo for some people. Means we can talk, because we have a certain kind of exposure, but not all of the Pakistanis are. So
So yeah,
these are the 3 points.
yeah. So Dr. Sara, do you think that why government will endorse that in a way, that the government will say to the consultants and the doctors, okay, in certain hours of your day, please allocate that. Why government should do it? And what do you think? Do you need that support from the government? Okay, I think Dr. Sara is disconnected. So the same question I ask Mariam. So Mariam, can you please?
Yes. Ali, I think it's very important that the government become, like, they should be on board. The thing is, like, we have organizations like, PMDC, which is now BMC, and CPSP. They should provide these specialization courses in telemedicine. This is something which is not being done. And to bring our doctors on board, we need, like, the support of the government, right? And the government has a very large part to play. Like, as Herman said, standardization is very important to like make sure that the delivery of care is set to a certain mark. It needs to have a benchmark, right? And then ethical considerations. When telemedicine, like, is a very good portal of providing care, but it does come with its, like, cons as well. So ethical considerations during your consultations are also very important. And the government can also take part in providing, like, they can have a complaint management system, which would give a very good, like, pathway for people who are using telemedicine, not just the doctors, also the patients, both, right? So yes, the government has a lot of work that they can do to help promote telemedicine.
Mansab, because you have actually evaluated a lot of telemedicine platforms. So, two questions. One, do you agree that the telemedicine platforms are not standardized? number one. And number two, isn't there a government process already exist which promote to standardized? I have this question over to you.
Okay, so yeah, I've tested a lot of telehealth platforms, and I didn't see any standardization or guidelines from the government that all the telemedicine needs to follow, because some vary their own ways in terms of service, in terms of the doctors that they have, in terms of the tests and everything. So I agree there should be definitely should be a standard that every telehealth provider should follow, because obviously it's a health and medical related field. So obviously the more the regulated, the better. But coming from not from a PMC regulatory point of view, but an SECP point of view, since I come from an insurance background. So I think they should definitely have some sort of regulatory approach like there's in the US, that most states have made it legal that all insurance products should have a telemedicine provider as well in their product as well. And that's legal now in most states in the US. So that should be implemented in Pakistan as well. Along with, there should also be a regulatory approach towards employee healthcare. So the government should also, and the SECP should also make it mandatory for employees of most organizations registered at the SECP. The company should provide telemedicine like they provide health insurance, life insurance as well. So that would really help get the word out, as well as, people would start using it and really help the overall space.
I think that's a very big takeaway, and I would request the white paper team, when it comes on policymakers, I think one is the endorsement, as Harman said, that promoting doctors to allocate certain time, and then it comes to the standardization of the processes so that it becomes a better experience for the patient. Definitely, I think that's the close of the conversation. Any last point which you would like to add in before we close the call? Starting from Hamza, would you like to add any last point which should be added in the white paper? Everybody can think of anything which you feel like should be part of the white paper, because this video is going to be shared with them and they will watch it. So please share anything which you think for the betterment of the telemedicine, it should be there. Hamza, starting from your side.
I think what we've talked about, summing up all of that, especially the few points on, getting the health and more not only the health tech, but the larger health industry together to build that sort of experience and to connect with each other. So that the patients can be given a seamless experience, digital experience, because if it's not seamless, if the data is still fragmented in, multiple applications, the lab tests are in another application, the prescription is in another one. I think the fragmentation in the physical sense would be replicated in the digital world as well. And I think that's not the experience that we want to give. So I think it's the need of the hour would be to get more connected digitally, with the health tech apps and with also the other larger healthcare ecosystem.
Excellent, great. Herman, from your side, any last point?
Actually, I really want to make one point very clear, that this medical health information of anyone is it's very private. So we have to work on the data privacy as well, because when different applications share different data of a same person to different platforms, so there is a huge chance that there will be no privacy, and it can be leaked. So we have to work on that, and we have to work on the best practices, and this is very crucial. So
Herman,
when we talk about
so Herman, this is very important, but I would request that you do attend the patient data sharing roundtable as well. Narmeen, you're in the call, please send an invite to Herman so we can have a elaborated discussion on the data protection. We're taking a point here, but there is a separate roundtable on that as well. So please carry on.
Okay, sure. These are the 2 points. Yeah.
Great. Mariam, any last point from your side?
Yes, Ali. So I think to sum it up, right, having a website curriculum to help the healthcare providers. Ensuring like quality assurance department in telemedicine is very important. And rapid data analysis cycles. I think these 3 points are very important to help with your telemedicine solutions to reach like the optimal mark.
Okay, great. Mansab, any last point from your side?
I was thinking, since there's so many telemedicine, telehealth providers coming up, and there's some old ones. So I think through some platform, even this is a good platform. They should get together and discuss their learnings. Okay, some are like 3-4 years old and have gone through a lot of things, but some are just 1 year old. So they'll go through that in order to get that. So it shouldn't be a competitive environment, but it should be a collaborative environment in which everybody, is working for the betterment and health of the Pakistani individual instead of just fighting for markets here. And obviously, when they get together, share their learnings, I think that would really make a difference.
So Hamza, are you ready to take this initiative, bringing all the stakeholders together? It's not an easy task.
Yeah, it's not an easy task, easier to say, but very difficult to get done. But I think that it's going to be detrimental if we don't do this right now. I think we'll be hindering the growth of all of the health tech platforms. So definitely very willing to get this done.
Okay, so we'll put it as in a white paper, Hamza, with your endorsement. Okay, we should sit down together. As a volunteer, HealthWire is ready to host you, and then all up to you. Yeah. So
definitely, 100%.
Yeah. Great. I think I'm very happy, guys. First of all, thank you so much. Everybody made a very positive contribution. I think this is a very really great asset which we're gonna input into the document. And I promise with you guys, we'll not make it as a document only. We will ensure to send it to the right stakeholders. We'll present it to them, and we'll appreciate and recognize your kind support in that as well. With that, we have other sessions today as well. 1 o'clock, we have micro insurance. So I think Mansa will be there at 1 o'clock as well. So anybody want to join the 1 o'clock, please feel free. We have the invitation for that as well. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for your kind time.
Thank you, Ali.
Thank
you, Ali. This was amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.